Everyone to part 3 of this spoiler install. Here it is. Here is the body colored white Hellcat spoiler. And one thing I will say coming this far is that if you do decide to do this, make sure that you give yourself at least a whole day. This is already, my third attempt to installing this spoiler, but just the removal of the stock RT spoiler, it's going to take a little while. That's just the nature of it. So I'm hoping that this lip right here will be what actually hides the pegs, the hole plugs. So I hope that when it does get installed, that it really becomes hidden. That's my big concern. Now here is something else that I just noticed. This is a journey, guys, so come along with me as I discover things. But there's one hole there. This is a center hole and a third hole right there. Now that's 3 holes, one being in the middle. Now there's 4 holes on the trunk. There is no center hole. So that means that these 2 holes here and here will need to be plugged, and there will need to be a center hole drilled somewhere there for the proper install. Now, I haven't even put the spoiler on yet, and I am just hoping that at least I'm able to use the 2 outside holes. At least have those match up, please. Love this. But yeah, it turns out just the 3 holes, so I was not even able to use the outside holes. They do not line up with the stock spoiler holes that are in the trunk. So I will have to plug up all 4 of the holes in the middle of the deck lid, and then drill 3 brand new holes. But with this particular spoiler, it came with this. It's called a gasket. It's just like a pad. I thought it was going to be like another strip of 3M tape, but this is just like a cushion. And then I'm going to start the process of drilling the holes. And the next step, it was inserting these into the screw holes, and then I will be taping these down to the trunk after taking some measurements. You only get one shot at this, so measure twice, cut once. And remeasured, decided to tape everything here with the spoiler in place. And I'm going to have some work cut out for me as I have to get rid of all of this. But next thing is to take this spoiler off and drill some holes. Actually, now that the spoiler is removed, what I'm going to do is plug these holes. As you can see, none of them line up with the holes that came with the spoiler. So I'm going to plug those. I'm going to try to do a preliminary cleaning, get some of this off, and then start the trunk surgery. Remove everything and start over. I wanted to give the trunk a more detailed cleaning, so I did. But just keep in mind, when you do decide to put the spoiler on, this is going to be your best reference, is the reverse camera. I'm pretty sure all the vehicles should have one, but that will be the center of the deck lid. So that, of course, is what you want to base the rest of your alignment on. And that's where you would use the measuring tape. For me, I'm just measuring the distance to this, to there, as well as the other side from here to there, and kind of get a gauge on the back as well, making sure that it's evenly spaced inside the deck lid. But that's just a few things to consider as you go along, for those of you planning on installing this. No turning back. So the 1/8 inch drill bit was for the starter holes, and now is the 5/16 for the final holes. Time to clean up these holes. And now that the holes are completed, the next step was to add a rust inhibitor. So I applied some WD-40, and then I actually went with a clear coat enamel from the Rust-Oleum to double protect it. And keep in mind, when you do drill these holes, it is going to leave metal shavings. So they could be sharp, and I would once again recommend the eye protection, because when you do decide to clean up the holes, you are dealing with metal. So gloves and eye protection, safety first. So now that the main work is done, we're getting close to the part that we've all been waiting for, is the install of the spoiler. But I'm going to go over this. I'm going to go over the trunk and the whole deck lid with this spray cleaner and polish. It also repels water, polishes paint and everything. So just to get all that grime and everything off the car. So we've reached that point that the spoiler is finally installed snugly. And it's time to put everything back, starting with this. Lining up the clips that are under here. Making sure to put these on the inside of the plastic. And let me just show you what I did on some of these holes. So the holes are rather large. So with the plugs on the bottom side, I actually added silicone on the bottom as well as on the top side, just for extra sealing protection. I did the same with the quarter panel plugs. I siliconed around the top as well as going underneath here and putting silicone on top of a Q-tip and wrapping it around the holes on the bottom side. And then we just basically reversing the order that we took everything out, replacing pegs. And so when you are taking out these end clips, just remember that it's 2 and they're located in this area. Keep that in mind as you start trying to pry this corner clip out. And then it literally just pops right back in. And that's it. It's in. Just making sure to put this liner back underneath the rubber border and then the clip. T20. Just tighten that up. Hook back up the light. So much easier with 2 hands. Then the T10 for up here. And so if you end up getting a spoiler that doesn't use the same 4 holes as the factory spoiler, you're going to end up with this extra hardware. These were the 2 bolts from the outsides, and then these were the 2 bolts, washers from the inside. So you may end up with some extra hardware depending on which spoiler you end up going with. And then give your trunk a nice vacuum just to pick up any of the shavings from the drilling of the holes. And the last and final step, guys, is to just enjoy your new spoiler after removing that 3-piece factory spoiler, and enjoy this aesthetic look of the Hellcat spoiler. 1 piece as it should be. I'm really liking it. I mean, now that it's all done, it actually looks really great. And tomorrow I will take some photos or video in the sun, and then this video will be ready to be posted. I hope that this helped out anybody who's considering doing this to your car. You know, it's quite a project. Give yourself some time and some patience, at least a day, especially to remove all the adhesive. But you know, it's well worth it. Once it's done, it's a one-time investment in far as your time and your energy and your effort, but it's worth it, guys. And you just feel so much better when you do it yourself. You get to learn about your car in the process versus just having someone else do it. But thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and let me know if this helped you, if this was something you're considering doing to your car. Here it is, guys. Here is the finished product of the Hellcat spoiler install, and I think it actually looks pretty good. Now that it's all done, I can just enjoy it. And those of you wondering about the hole plugs, if you look really good, you can kind of see it. but the spoiler actually does a great job of hiding them. And so you'll know it's there, but anyone else, they wouldn't be able to tell. Smile. And so there you have it, guys. Now that the journey is complete, I just want to thank you all for coming along with me on this. It was a good experience. You know, I learned a lot of things along the way. There was a lot of things that I would love to share with you all, but it would just take too much time to explain all the different things that I actually went through that I learned after I needed to learn them. But it's all part of the journey. So I thank you folks for coming along the journey with me. And those of you who noticed my new intro and outro, that was done by the gentleman that actually purchased my 2013 Dodge Charger RT. So him and I, we still correspond from time to time. And we were just chatting back and forth. And he told me, he said, hey, I got a new intro for you. He let me check it out. And shout out to Pono. He's the guy that bought my 2013 Dodge Charger Road and Track. And so right now we're talking about a possible future collaboration video, maybe between him and me. And we'll see what happens. But thank you all again for following me on this journey. This is Ryan from Riding in Style.
Yeah.